What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and woo, the Karens of Twitter are mad. They are now boycotting AMC Theater because, like other movie theaters, by the way, AMC is choosing not to require masks in their theaters. They've put in place certain precautions and new policies around allowing people back into the theater, but they don't want to require them. And meanwhile, Cinemark and other large theater chains are also not requiring them on reopen, but that's not why they're mad at AMC. They're mad at AMC because they said that they didn't want to make a political statement, which admittedly is an odd way to put this, but also let me be very, very clear. All of these, a large portion of these people that are now totally up in arms about grandma getting sick were totally thinking it was stunning and brave when everyone was packing in like sardines in the streets for the past 3 weeks. All right. So I don't care what they have to say about it. Ultimately, going to the movies, not a right, not something you have to do, not something that's even important, but people on Twitter, of course, do what they do. If we just look at some of the top tweets about it. Dear AMC Theaters, I'm a person with 10 plus pre-existing conditions. I'm also a huge movie lover. I hope you know that it's nothing political when I say I will boycott AMC. It's a matter of life or death for me. You've lost a customer for life. Listen, Pete Morley, I don't believe you, first of all. Second of all, if you have 10 plus pre-existing conditions, maybe clean up your own house, all right? Leaving anything other than a sterile bubble is probably risky for you. And you see, you've got to be kidding me. Irresponsible. Why is safety a political issue? Well, I was really on the fence about continuing my monthly AMC A-List membership and going back with a mask. Thanks for the clarity. I mean, yeah, look, I have a right to cancel. Appreciate you. But I wonder if I went through your history, how stunning and brave you would be. It's so funny to me that the coof, the Tom Hanks disease, is so pathetically obviously used as a cudgel. It's used as something to get at somebody. Most of these people don't really care. Now, I have met people, okay, that really do care. They're not going back out to the pubs. They're not, you know, they're still staying home. They're wearing masks. Guess what those people aren't doing? Whining on Twitter about it. They're just going about their lives because they actually care. You have all sorts of AMC, Cinemark, and Regal draw backlash for not requiring customers to wear masks. There's absolutely no reason to boycott AMC. Here's this. Just because they aren't requiring face masks doesn't mean you're not allowed to wear one. If you're too scared to go to the movies, then just stay home. This cancel culture has to end already. That's a great point. First of all, my point would have been, nobody's requiring you to go to the movies. You can, by the way, I just did a VOD last night for You Should Have Left, the Kevin Bacon horror / thriller. 6 out of 10. Gets a half-point bump for the Baconator, so 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, it was $20, but didn't go to the... I was like, I don't know if I want to go to the theater for this, so I'll just rent it on that. And you know what? The movie wasn't that great, so I'm glad I didn't spend even more money on popcorn and soda. But then, ultimately, what it really comes down to is this headline. You can see a lot of people... This is where we are in America. Following basic public health advice is now political controversy. We'll put it this way. The people of Twitter act like there aren't a large portion of people out there who would not go if masks were required. All right? Look, I understand if people want to wear masks, 100%. Protect yourself. That's cool. But when a store like Home Depot, for example, required me to wear a mask and then made me buy it, I left. I was like, you know what? Screw you. I'm not going to wear a mask. Forget it. If you want me to wear a mask, I'll do it if you give it to me. And even then. I'll just go to somewhere else that isn't. So to pretend like there aren't large groups of people that don't think like that is absurd. But really, it all comes from this article in Variety because of an off-the-cuff remark. AMC Theaters, the world's largest exhibitor, has unveiled its plan to reopen. It's more than 600 venues in the United States for nearly that have been closed for nearly 4 months. The company is expected to resume operations on 450 of those locations on July 15th, which is still a month away, by the way, and expects almost fully operational by the time of Disney's Mulan debuts July 24th and Warner Brothers' Tenet hits on July 31st. As part of that process, AMC is reducing its seating capacity in order to help social distancing. It is implementing new cleaning procedures, placing hand sanitizing stations throughout the theaters, and encouraging contactless and cash-free concessions. All good things. And I've said this really since the start. A lot of this stuff is just good. I mean, look, if it's not the coof, it's going to be something else. And at some point, it's going to be flu season again. And there's always some bug going around. So the more antibacterial, like, little stations that there are out there, the more contactless service that we can have, I'm for that. AMC CEO and President Adam Aron says, "We didn't rush to reopen." In an interview with Variety, there were some jurisdictions in some states, such as Georgia and Texas, that allowed people to reopen theaters in mid-May. We opted to remain closed so we could give the country time to get a better handle on everything going on. We wanted to use the time to figure out how to best reopen and do it safely. AMC's competitors, Regal and Cinemark, announced their own plans to resume business earlier this week, targeting a similar mid-July timeframe for when they expect to be fully operational. The exhibition sector, and particularly AMC, are under big pressure to bring customers back to cinemas. Prior to everything going on right now, there's a great deal of consolidation in the exhibition space. Much of it made possible by debt financing. AMC's decision to acquire rivals such as Odeon Cinemas, UCI, and Carmike Cinemas left a heavily leveraged with more than $5 billion in debt. Now, in my heart of hearts, I think we can manage AMC through this crisis, said Aron. There are no guarantees that nobody knows exactly what the coof will look like in the winter or how long it will take to get a vaccine. But I can tell you that we have a very able management team here, and we're going to make every effort to make sure AMC continues to be well positioned as a leader in the movie theater industry. AMC will not mandate all guests, and here's the problem. Here's where everyone gets upset. Will not mandate that all guests wear masks, although employees will be required to do so. Nor will AMC perform temperature checks on customers, though it will monitor its employees' temperatures and have them undergo screenings to check for signs. The situation will be different in states and cities where they require them. But Aron said that AMC was wary of wading into public health issue that has become politicized. We didn't want to be drawn into a political controversy, said Aron. We thought it might be counterproductive if we forced mask wearing on those people who believe strongly that it is not necessary. We think that the vast majority of AMC guests will be wearing masks. When I go to an AMC feature, I will certainly be wearing a mask and leading by example. So there's the full quote, all right? Nothing about what he said is forbidding anybody from wearing a mask. In fact, he's saying, look, I'm going to wear masks, and AMC will also sell masks for $1 to guests who forget to bring one. Both Cinemark and Regal are encouraging guests to wear masks, but also not requiring it in states where it's not mandated. As it worked to establish and implement new procedures, AMC partnered with the Clorox Company and current and former faculty of Harvard universities on the advice of theater chain. So, I mean, they're obviously doing everything they can. They plan to increase capacity in its theaters in stages. First, it will make only 30% of the capacity available. Over time, it will increase to 40, then 50. AMC hopes that it will be able to have half of its auditoriums full by Labor Day and projects that it will be at full capacity by Thanksgiving. What else do you want them to do? By the way, you've been able to shop in Walmart without a mask since Jump Street. Menards, Myers, or Menards only recently, Meijer, Home Depot, grocery stores. None of these in my area require them. So why aren't you canceling them? It's because it is a political issue. A lot of people see this as Trump's fault. Look, nobody, and I mean nobody, is prevented from wearing a mask to go see a movie at AMC. So what's the problem? forcing your patrons to wear masks is likely going to cause more harm than upsetting a few people on Twitter for a day until they move on to the next thing to be outraged. I am curious, though, what are your thoughts on going back to the movies? Are you going to? I'm not worried about it, especially if they're going to have 30% capacity and I can have a bunch of room. You bring a little antibacterial, you wear a mask if you're worried about it, and you get on with life. You're not going to be able to live in a bubble forever, despite how Twitter would want you to live. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.